Happy New Year to everyone out there in the land of YouTube. This is Ollie here at Visordown, wishing you a very prosperous and safe 2022 full of easy riding. And I invite you to join me in looking into the crystal ball for the future. Because let's face it, 2021 is just so last year now. Today we're going all out. We're not just going to pull a single party popper to launch our first video of the year. Oh, no. We're setting off rocket flares and fireworks, because there are some brilliant new motorcycles ready to blow up big on Visordown over the next few months. And we reckon that is worth making a song and dance about. So, how are you today? You good? Fantastic. Me? Well, I'm celebrating. In fact, Visordown enjoyed another stellar 2021 that broke yet more records in the motorcycle publication industry to nail down our status as the world's, I'll say it, the world's best read and most trusted website for all things motorcycle. It is a pleasure and an honour to continue bringing you brand new content, and believe me, we have a lot coming up. So to show our gratitude towards you, I want to say thank you, merci, danke, gracias, obrigado, tak, dziękuję, danyavad, sheshye, terima kasim, harpoon, diolch, spasibo. And for the other English-speaking nations, cheers for the clicks, lads and ladies. Last year we brought you 12 motorcycles we just couldn't wait to get our hands on, but this year we have 15 because we just couldn't whittle the list down. So are you ready for 2022? Here we go. For many, the biggest motorcycle to have its world premiere in 2021 came right in the final few days, with the dazzling June-leaping Ducati DesertX still fresh in our memories as we toasted the early days of 2022. This is Ducati's first crack at the proper adventure motorcycle market. We say proper because the Multistrada is by contrast a multifunctional motorcycle, but one that suffers with an identity crisis all the same. However, the DesertX marks the spot with a fresh new platform for Ducati engineers to get their hands dirty on and apply more unfamiliar design traits such as high ground clearance, lofty slender stance, and rugged mechanicals that it insists are hard wearing without losing that Ducati sporting spirit on the smooth stuff. It will find itself up against the likes of the KTM 890 Adventure and Triumph Tiger 900 Rally Pro, and also this, the MV Agusta Lucky Explorer 9.5, which together with the smaller Lucky Explorer 5.5 sees the Varese mark heading for the hills for a tasty slice of that oh-so-juicy adventure sport pie. So, yep, it's got a quirky name. It's one that relates to the famed Lucky Strike logo adorned on its sister company Kajiva Elephant Rally Raiders of the 1980s, but does so without breaking some laws by naming it after a packet of fags. So, the MV Agusta Lucky Explorer may be thumbing through the archives for spiritual inspiration, but this otherwise takes the firm into a new direction that is much less pricey exotica and more accessible and practical. Two distinct versions are available. The 5.5 aims to ride off the success of Italy's best-selling model, the Benelli TRK 502, by literally riding off with it and putting its own design spin on the platform. More interesting though is the 9.5, which is all new from the ground up, including the firm's latest 950cc 3-cylinder engine that will also be slapped on the F3, Brutale and Turismo Veloce in time too. It seems like only yesterday we were stepping into our leathers and blasting around Qatar's Losail International Circuit on the brand new Honda CBR 1000 RRR, but then that came just before COVID, and that seems like a long time ago now. Putting aside the notion that time moves differently when you own a Firelbade, the CBR 1000 RRR has been given a refresh just 2 years down the line, which we'll admit isn't a long time between updates. Never fear though, the Fireblade remains a class lead challenging beast of a usable sports bike. Think of a wolf, but like a domesticated one that does its, outside. Ignoring that rather visual analogy, the updates for 2022 are actually very minor on the road, but have been designed to instead help Honda pick up the pace on the racing scene, following feedback from Alvaro Bautista, Leon Haslam and co. Oh, the best bit, there is also the chance to get your hands on a 30th anniversary special, which looks positively delicious in its throwback retro decals inspired by the original CBR 900. The moody dark side of Japan will bring more light to the ever-competitive 1000cc naked segment with the launch of the new Yamaha MT-10. One of the last masters of torque, or MT to you and me, To receive an overhaul following on from the MT-07 and MT-09, the MT-10 and SP flagship will top the firm's roadster range. New for 2022 is the uprated 998cc CP4 engine, which pumps power figures up to 164 brake horsepower while reducing its carbon footprint. Yamaha has also spent a long time, perhaps even too long, figuring out how to perfectly tune the engine to deliver a rumbling growl at low RPM and a high-pitched roar at high RPM. In fact, it comes with a feature called acoustic amplifier grills, which Yamaha says gives the MT-10 a unique harmony, and will potentially lead to its first album dropping somewhere in the spring. Having generated some debate with the styling direction debuted on the MT-09 and R7, the MT-10 seems to round back some of the more divisive elements, with a dual front headlamp setup and possibly motorcycling's most powerful set of eyebrows. Also, those turquoise rims certainly stand out, and they have inspired the choice of paint I'm going to use in my bathroom. The Kawasaki H2 SX SE is a mouthful to say, but with a supercharged 200 brake horsepower at your disposal, for the most part riding one should leave you speechless. The more touring-orientated of the H2 range, the SX SE is pitched as the lavish one, to get you from A to B, via K and maybe Z, comfortably and very quickly. However, for 2022, it can also be known as the tech-geeky one, for it debuts a host of updates designed to make riding more pleasurable and safer. Most importantly, say hello to ARAS. There, you can just see it poking around the reprofiled front fascia, which stands for Advanced Rider Assistance System. No, it won't ride your motorcycle for you, but I don't know why you'd want that anyway. But it will have a higher chance of predicting when an unsafe moment could occur, such as cars pulling out in front of you, pedestrians more engrossed in their phones than living, or avoiding debris in a meteor strike. Maybe. It's a feature several manufacturers are now running, but Kawasaki's might not only be the most advanced, but it is likely to start trickling down to other models in the range very soon. Having allowed its younger 900 Sport Cubs to flee the family home, the granddaddy Triumph Tiger 1200 finally got its long overdue overhaul just before the year was out. The flagship in Triumph's popular adventure range, the Tiger 1200 sets sights directly on the BMW R1250 GS Adventure, with a blend of hardcore go-anywhere ability, its rendition of the familiar family face, and a T-plane crank engine. GT, Rally, and for the first time, Explorer editions will be available, with the new flagship boasting a long-range fuel tank, more tech, and a higher spec list. Now the fourth Triumph to wear the Tiger tag, we won't have long to find out if the Tiger 1200 can deliver a devastating attack on the competitive big adventure class. For a company so steeped in history, having just celebrated its 100th anniversary, you don't get a new Moto Guzzi come around all too often, much less one that is actually brand new from the ground up. The Piaggio brand has smoothed out some of the range's aging wrinkles with the launch of the V100 Mandello, an all-new entry into the sports tourer category to rival the Suzuki GSX S1000 GT and Yamaha Tracer 9. Certainly leaning towards a sportier angle of the sports tourer couplet, the V100 Mandello certainly could pass as a sports bike from some angles, while the 115 brake horsepower V-twin engine certainly has some impressive credentials on paper for swift travelling. However, while Moto Guzzi promises sporty handling, the V100 Mandello is designed for comfort and clicking off the miles with a bit of Italian-flavoured gusto. Here's a question for you. If time continues to march forward, does that mean our notion of retro motorcycles should also be shifting with the times retrospectively? It's a question Yamaha clearly asked itself when designing the new XSR900, which breaks away from retro rivals stuck in the 1960s and 70s by giving the new generation a decidedly 80s tinged flick of the designer's pen. On the one hand, it's a contemporary twist. On the other hand, 1982 was 40 years ago now. Just saying, sorry. Built to the Faster Sons philosophy, the XSR900 has a new Delta Box aluminium frame, which has enabled its cleaner, straighter-edged and minimalist aesthetic, distinguished by some smart detailing in a unique blue colourway and gold rims. Under the skin is the more familiar 889cc triple-cylinder CP3 engine that first debuted in the sister MT-09, while Yamaha says the XSR900 is sporty without losing the open-face lid style of easy riding. And now for something very different. This is an electric sports bike. Wait, don't click away. You'll actually want to see this. So, okay, we know electric motorcycles have a bit of a tough reputation at the moment, and the announcement that all future two-wheelers will be drinking from a plug in the wall is going to meet resistance. But this here, the Damon HyperSport, is possibly one of the most intriguing motorcycles we've ever come across. A little history lesson first. Damon Motorcycles is a new Canadian company that originally set out to develop its own radar-assisted cruise control, but found it hard to integrate it into existing motorcycles. So it made one of its own, and they made it a sports bike, an electric one at that. Revealed 2 years ago, Damon Motorcycles has been gathering a significant amount of buzz with its bold figures and a growing investment portfolio that makes us wonder why we didn't think about the idea first. So yes, it may miss the sports bike snarl, but on paper there is a lot to get excited about. In top spec, its 20 kilowatt battery produces 200 brake horsepower, 200 mile/h top speed, and a range of, 200 miles. It will also hit 60 miles an hour in 3 seconds, and do you know what? For a first attempt at sports bike design, not only does it look pretty sharp, we forget it has a bulky battery pack hidden within. No one has ridden it yet, so we'll give the benefit of the doubt on those figures, but a Damon HyperSport will be coming to Europe soon. Could this be the bike that does for electric motorcycles what Tesla did for the electric car revolution? From one extreme to another, the Bimota KB4 is the second model to emerge from the iconic Italian firm's factory gates since the latest of its many revivals under part ownership of Kawasaki. Something a little more day-to-day than the Tezzy H2, which, let's face it, isn't your average machine to pop out for Milcom, the KB4 is still the very epitome of Grand Exotica. Available in Cafe Racer style standard trim or as a more stripped back, sharper KB4 RC, both models will certainly get you noticed cruising down the Amalfi coast, or on the M1. Being Bimota, it is rippling with ostentatious features, such as carbon fibre fairing, corner management systems, and more wings and slashes than at a Halloween party. That said, peel the striking skin back and you'll find a rather more humble 140 brake horsepower Kawasaki Ninja 1000 SX engine and underpinnings. Which is fine, there's nothing wrong with the Kawasaki, but with a reported price tag of around £30,000, that's almost £20,000, I repeat £20,000 more than the Ninja. Money can buy you exclusivity, but you'd really have to like the look of the Bimota KB4 to actually go and get one. I'm actually not sure if we like it that much. It's a very good time to be Royal Enfield at the moment. Not content with being one of India's biggest and most revered brands, Royal Enfield sales are booming around the world as buyers tap into its mix of no-nonsense, great value and classic motorcycling. It means the firm is gearing up for an onslaught of new models this year, many of which will end up in the UK, where the Interceptor 650 and Meteor 350 are already nestled nicely within the top 10 sales charts. First up will be the much anticipated new cruiser version on the 650cc platform, which has since been dubbed with the revival of the Super Meteor nameplate. Combining the well-received 650cc twin engine and given a sprinkling of magic from the fondly regarded Meteor, this Super Meteor promises to be very super indeed. Meanwhile, Royal Enfield used EICMA to reveal its Spitshine SG650 concept, which will become the Shotgun 650 and is set to go on sale later in the year. Of all the motorcycles in this video, the BMW R1300 is without a doubt the most significant. It's a motorcycle that without fail tops the sales charts across Europe, with two versions, the GS and GS Adventure, each ending 2021 inside the UK top 10 once again. Unfortunately, it hasn't been revealed in its entirety as yet, so you'll need to get the magnifying glass out to pick out anything exciting from these exclusive spy shots of a mule undergoing testing in 2021. What we do know is that it will receive a new 1300cc engine for a bit of extra poke, whether your preference is for the sporty RS, the touring RT, the Adventure Light GS or the mountain climbing GS Adventure. BMW doesn't get motorcycles often wrong, but this one it really has to get right. At last, KTM has heard our cries and will be flinging its name into the sports bike ring once again with what we're calling the KTM RC990, or KTM RC9, or KTM Big Orange Sports Bike, just take your pick. The as yet unnamed model has been seen undergoing testing recently, so it hasn't been revealed in the flesh. So at the moment what you see zipping about on the screen is in fact a KTM RC8C. Why, you ask? Well, this was a limited production track-only special spun off from the firm's now defunct Moto 2 effort. The fact it's sold out in less than 4 minutes seems to tell it that there is a market for a fully fared KTM sports bike out there, at least for those with slow internet connection and missed out on the RC8C. Much of what you see on the RC8C will no doubt be put to use on the RC990, which as you can tell makes use of a new 990cc engine that will end up in the Duke and Adventure as well. They don't make them like they used to. Or maybe, in the case of the BSA Gold Star, they actually do. For many British riders of a certain generation, BSA conjures up some misty-eyed memories, so much so that it has prompted Indian-based Classic Legend, which is a subsidiary of Mahindra, to dust off the nameplate and give it a 21st century lease of life. Though very Indian in finance, BSA still has a rich British streak in its pipes, with future models to be built and developed in the UK. Targeted right at Royal Enfield, the BSA Gold Star revives one of its most famous models with lashings of classic design, retro nostalgia and simple running gear. Last but certainly not least, we return to Honda, which recently stung the press by creating significant buzz around its relaunch of the Hornet Roadster. If the Japanese giants have been a little quiet of late, with the NT1100 only the real significant new motorcycle from Big Red over the last 12 months, then it is ramping up the volume for 2022, beginning with the Hornet. In true epilepsy-inducing style, the Hornet for 2022 was announced in a riot of flashing lights and jerky camera angles, leaving only a silhouette and our imagination to do the rest of the colouring in. So, what can we expect? Well, the Hornet is quite a well-worn nameplate, adorning everything from 250cc urban tiddlers to Firelbade-based 900cc monsters. As a result, frankly, we aren't too much the wiser, with Honda choosing to do that thing where they close their mouths and throw away the key. Rude. However, a bit of sleuthing last year revealed Honda has trademarked the name CB750S, which would likely be the formalised term for it. Excitingly, having persevered with the 4-cylinder CB600R, it means the Hornet would likely be a 750cc twin pot that will have its sights trained on giving the Triumph Street Triple and Yamaha MT-10 a very nasty sting. So, there you have it. 15 motorcycles to get very excited about for 2022. Let us know in the comments which one has you checking down the back of the sofa for spare change, or perhaps we have missed one, but then you would have to listen to me for longer, and I just wouldn't want to put you through that. As ever, please like and subscribe to the Visordown YouTube channel. We cannot wait to show you what 2022 has in store for us. In the meantime, we do hope your New Year's resolution was to ride more than ever before, so go do that. And until next time, ciao for now.